Welcome to the Friday Matinee. I am T, and I am normally here with a gentleman who says on the other side of the desk, I am George. But George is not here today. George went off on, gallivanting around the country, doing things very, very important. And I am here on my own today. That's not true. I'm not here on my own. I have a lovely guest, Julie Ream, who's here from Western Legends Awards. She is the producer of what's coming up at this is Friday, September 18th at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City, the 60th anniversary reunion. This is Gunsmoke. So, Julie, welcome to the Friday Matinee.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I have some questions. First of all, I have to fess up. I loved the Westerns when I was a kid. I would sit in front of my television set and wonder, as a native Californian, it made my home come alive.
Right.
How did you come to your love of the Westerns?
My family were all TV and motion picture cowboys, so when I was born, I just thought everybody's family were cowboys.
It just was not unusual. So for you,
No.
it was just Uncle so-and-so and the cousin and
my grandpa.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sort of jealous of you because I wanted all these guys to be my relatives.
Oh, it's awesome because I know them to this day. It's like I'm still a kid.
Miss Kitty was my crazy aunt that I didn't really have. I wanted her to be in my household. So you grew up around this. What is your connection today? It's been with you your entire life.
My entire life.
And they've been family.
Right.
And now you're coming at this from a business capacity. I should ask you, have you ever been in a business capacity yourself?
Yeah, I worked in the industry myself. I worked for 10 years as an investigative agent for Unsolved Mysteries, a TV show Unsolved Mysteries. So I was in the media.
Okay, that's my other second favorite thing on television.
We have to talk. That's like a 2-martini fun time talk.
So you get to be that person. You're presented with a case. You're like basically a police officer or an investigator, but that's not what you do. You're doing this from a different aspect, but you have access to all that info.
You do it all. You have cameras coming at you you have the police there, you have the camera there for the segment that you're filming. I didn't do the segments, I did the hot tips, the ones that were in the studio. I did like what John Walsh does for America's Most Wanted for Unsolved Mysteries. So that's my passion. That was great, So I just loved that. So yes, so you take your talents from that and throw it into something like this. It came up 60 years and they wanted to have, every 5 years they have a reunion. And this year is the 60th, and I think, I'm going to say it's going to be the final.
It's the Diamond Jubilee.
It really is. It's the Diamond Jubilee, and that's exactly what it is. And so the Arness family, the Weavers, we were all so close together growing up, and the Arnesses, Janet Arness, who I got Jim his saddle here on the Walk Western Stars, just outside your door
now,
here.
If you're listening and you don't know what we're referencing, there's a fabulous Western Walk of Fame all along Main Street in Old Town Newhall, where you can walk and you can see all the greatest names in cowboy television and film and music all along. So you were instrumental in getting his saddle on his little spot.
Yes, I did. And that same year, Rhonda Fleming and David Carradine. I have several people over the years, but I want to get my Uncle Glenn his saddle and the walk here because he's the only one from Gunsmoke that isn't there. And I think it's really important because they came here in 1930. My grandfather was Cactus Mac, and he started the band that became the Sons of the Pioneers.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, that's the best.
Western Swing.
If you didn't hear the Sons, the real Sons in the day, that's it. That's the way it is. And I've got some of that music.
If you've heard Toy Story and you've heard, Woody's Roundup, it's that kind of music. And it's joyful. It's some of the best music ever.
That's what I'm having at the Gunsmoke 60th. We're going to do we're just going to do a big fun reunion out there, but yeah.
And again, this is on September 18th.
Right.
How do we get tickets?
At this point, you have to call, and you can call 818-395-5020 and reserve your tickets so they'll be ready for you at the door. They are available now at the door, but it's at an upcharge. So if you call that number, you can waive that.
Now, if we let's say we're going to walk me through it. In the event that someone can't go, we come in the door, we hear the strains of the music, like the Sons of the Pioneers, that beautiful Texas swing that you grew up with, and who all will be there? What's the event like? What's happening that night?
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a real reunion. So what we're doing is the Real Cowboys have opened their venue up to me. They host the Silver Spur Awards there in September every year, and they opened this up to me to have the Diamond Jubilee of Gunsmoke. And so they are presenting their Silver Spur Awards to some honorees that night, and we're going to have a panel discussion with the stars, and we're going to have Bruce Boxleitner, who he's going to do a panel discussion.
He's so handsome.
He is, with Mariette Hartley, Martin Landau,
lovely.
Marty Cove, Morgan Brittany, LQ Jones, Michael Learned, the mom from the Waltons, Buck Taylor, of course, Angie Dickinson, John Voight, Earl Holliman.
These are all the people I grew up with wanting as family, and a lot of them you had as family. I'm super envious, but they're all going to be gathered under this one roof. What a remarkable evening.
It's going to be wonderful.
It's like the Love Boat on land.
Absolutely, it is. And they're so excited to all get to see each other and be near each other and talk to each other. And, because when you work on a network television show or any kind of TV show, that's family. And when it ends, that's heartbreaking because it's like a divorce.
Yeah, and the family members all go away. So now here you have the reunion of everyone coming together.
And everyone is going to have such a great time. It's going to be a banquet, a beautiful silent auction. It's going to benefit 3 charities: the National Day of the Cowboy, the National Veterans.
Wait, there's a National Day of the Cowboy?
We're hoping for there to be a National Day of the Cowboy.
So we are campaigning. This is campaigning.
We're campaigning.
There should be a National Day of the Cowboy.
Absolutely. There's a National Lollipop Day.
And the donuts have a day.
That's right.
And I love me some cowboy more than I do a donut.
That's
any
right.
Day of the week.
That's right.
Awesome. That would be incredible.
So it's been lobbied through Congress, passed in many states, and we're still working on it. And
okay. So National Cowboy Day. What else?
National Day of the Cowboy, the United Cerebral Palsy.
Wonderful.
And that is something that's dear to the Arnesses heart. And then there is the National Veterans Memorial. And I work with the Hollywood support group of the National Veterans Memorial. Another thing I do is to honor the actors, men and women, actors, directors, producers, all of those that served in the military. And
so very important, because a lot of times they might be recognized for their work in the industry, but not their work as an American.
Absolutely. What you may not know is James Arness is the recipient of a Purple Heart for his service in Anzio. And
wow.
Yeah, and so we are having the presentations there. Morgan Woodward served in 2 wars. It's also his 90th birthday, and we're going to have a big bash for him for that.
Well, this is lovely.
Yes, Buck Taylor served in the Navy, Dennis Weaver in the Navy. It's going to be a really big night.
Now, in addition to your uncle that you are hoping to get the saddle on the Western Walk of Fame, now I know when you do a star down in Hollywood, really anybody can get a star. Their fan club, makes it a deal, and then they raise funds for it. What's the process like to get a Western Walk of Fame saddle?
I'm not exactly sure. I mean, when the city needed honorees, I was more than happy to oblige. I don't know exactly. This is the first time I'm pursuing it myself. But when we sat around and talked with the Gunsmoke family, and they found out that Glenn and Cactus my grandfather was Cactus Mack, when they found out that they didn't have their saddles here, when they started here in 1930 at the Saga Speedway with the Hoot Gibson Rodeo, they said, we're all going to write in, and we're all going to do whatever it is that we can do to make sure that happens. Wow. So I hope with that kind of, the history needs to be preserved.
Yes.
That's what's really important to me.
And I love that here in Newhall, we are the heart of the Western industry. We really, truly are. The films were made here.
Gunsmoke was filmed out at Melody Ranch.
And so many other great films, and the fact
that
William S. Hart had his home here. I know the entire area is just steeped.
I covered that all on my website for this show. Come early, because people are flying in from everywhere. Come early, stay late, come down the Walk of Western Stars, come see all of these things, come to the city of Newhall. I mean, just up the road there is not Ted Williams. can't think of his
Oh,
name.
your brain just goes.
My brain just went.
We had
His
triple digit
dan-
heat. You're entitled.
Tex Williams,
There you go.
Ted Williams, baseball player, Tex Williams. His dance studio is right down there, and it's now the Dipstick where they change oil, and it has the round windows in the front. And that's what was an old dance parlor.
I want a museum. I want a museum that has just, the map of everything that used to be here, and the artwork, and the beautiful bronzes and paintings, and a lot more of the Western the things we're so proud of, like the Gene Autry. But we really need representation, I think, here in Newhall.
Well, what I represent, which is the closest thing we could do now, is the Valley Relics Museum, and that's in the San Fernando Valley. And I have my family's things on display, and the nudie cars are on display, and lots of Western memorabilia. And I'm adding to it more and more and more and more all the time. And he's already going to double in size.
Wonderful.
So that is, you're right. They should do something.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah,
I just think that would be so lovely.
It absolutely
Tell me a little bit more about your uncle. He was Glenn
Strange. My grandfather was Cactus Mac, and
Right.
and Glenn was his first cousin. They were born 2 weeks apart, two sisters, and they were joined at the hip their whole life. So he was Uncle Glenn to me. And
now, was he scary to you? Because I've just learned he was Frankenstein's monster in 3 Universal films during the 40s.
He's being honored with Lifetime Achievement at this award. He was a huge man. He was 6'6".
Oh.
His brother was 7 feet tall. His brother's name was Shirley Strange.
You have to be 7 feet tall with that name.
I'm telling
to
you,
survive.
that's right. And Glenn was
Heaven
huge.
knew what they were doing.
He was a bad guy in the movies. No, he wasn't scary to me or anyone that knew him, because you would have loved him. I mean, you would love him instantly if you met him right now. Couldn't be scared of him. That's why it was kind of.
Then he went on to play the bartender in Gunsmoke.
He ended his career
and
there.
They're usually bartenders and hairdressers are known for sort of being the psychologist of that trade. So did he also have a little of that? He was the good listener. He wasn't that
type of bartender. This is kind of interesting. He was the Miss Kitty's protector. Now, Miss Kitty started off, as we all know, as a lady of the night. Mm-hmm. And this was the first adult Western. Well, they kind of played that down to make her a saloon owner. Mm-hmm. And he was her bouncer? He was her protector. Oh. He was her protector. He had that rifle behind the bar, and it was his job to just protect those girls. And that was the kind of bartender that he was.
And so he was that kind of relative too. He was the guy who was your protector.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
He was Butch Cavendish in The Lone Ranger, the one who shot all the Texas Rangers. He's been the primary bad guy in so many things. And then, of course, going on to the role of Frankenstein. He got that role when somebody looked at him and said, if he had hands like 2 hams, they were huge, and his big ruddy face, and the makeup man looked at him and said, if I had him, I'd be halfway through with my makeup before I ever got started in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
So they only had to put a little 1-inch thing on his head and a few risers on his feet, and that was it.
So he was big, and he was intimidating, and he was strong. Do you ever bring dates home when you were a kid? No, not so much. What was his advice to you when you decided to get involved in the business, or any of your relatives?
Oh, my family were all stay out of the business. My family were all, you've got to do this, that, or the other thing. Yeah, my grandfather was against me riding a horse because he said they're huge, big weapons and they're dangerous. So very protective. They loved the business. Don't get me wrong. They all did. They loved what they did.
They just didn't want it.
But it's hard, and it's a struggle, and it's tough. And back then, I mean, these guys were their own stuntmen, their own everything. Glenn had a beautiful voice and was a wonderful songwriter because they started off in music.
Right.
So he wrote the scores for so many of the shows and movies. And
so he had a sensitive side.
Oh, he was all sensitive. Aww. There was nothing. They loved to tell jokes. They loved to tell stories. They loved to laugh. They loved to cut up. They just had the best time together.
Now, when it came down to brass tacks, who you're not supposed to have favorites, but did you have favorites in the industry? Because if you were in and out with the actors and crew, and was there ever like a specific area or person where you said to yourself, oh, this is, because I like production. I love the idea that production is sort of the Lego, real people Legos.
Right.
You put this person here, you make sure that's there, and when
Right.
it's all said and done, you've put something together.
Yeah.
What What was it that triggered in you okay, I'm not going to necessarily go in the business as maybe the actress or the stunt woman or the other things that you had seen. What triggered that for you? What do you think was the gift you had or you saw, or the person, the mentor that led you down that path?
I'm not quite sure about that. I think mostly it's just sort of born in you innately to be who you are, because it took me for a long time to realize that everybody didn't have the same talents I had. If it came easy to me, it seemed like it would be easy to everybody else.
Right.
So I was probably well into my 30s before I figured that one out, that, it wasn't. I love to write, and you get to be a producer because it's like you want everything to run smoothly.
And you have to communicate.
You have to communicate. And so I think it's just that, I don't know, I kind of believe in treating people the way you want to be treated, and it just sort of builds your reputation.
That's actually probably the best advice you could give to anyone listening wanting to go into business. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Julie Ream, you're talking to us again about Gunsmoke. You can go learn more at gunsmoke60th.com. This is their big event. It's like the family reunion of Gunsmoke. It's their 60th anniversary reunion, Friday, September 18th. This is going to take place at the Sportsman's Lodge. There's a whole red carpet interview thing happening.
It's early. It starts at 5.
Now, if people are not able to go to the event, where do they get more information when it's all said and done? Where might they be able to read about it? Can they go right back to that website?
I will leave that website up to put pictures, but you can always see everything that I'm up to and whatever it is that I'm involved with by going on my website, which is Julie Ann Ream, ANNReam.com.
And then I want to take a quick moment too before we wrap up here. You don't just produce like these special awards and other things. You're a radio person. You're my people. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, when I worked for Unsolved Mysteries, one day Mark Eisler, who is now a dear friend, he was doing his radio show. I was coming home late from something, and he said, "I need to bone up really fast on JonBenet Ramsey case. If anybody can help me with that, please," because it was right when that guy had confessed that didn't do it. And so I never do this, but I pulled off the road and I called. And we talked until my phone went dead, and I promised him when I got, you know how your phone gets dead here. So when I got back up to the hills at home, I called him back. And it led to us him just loving. He was fascinated with Unsolved Mysteries. He was having fun with it, and I wanted to promote the cowboy shows I was doing too, so I would bring in Morgan Woodward and whatnot into the studio, and so there were times when I would just come in and do what he needed, and he just had fun. So that was on KABC Talk Radio, and I had a blast with them.
So are you still doing that? Can we still hear you?
Only when I'm invited into something like this.
All right,
no.
So if they like today, invite her in.
Right.
Julie Ream, again, event coordinator, and you do a lot of the cowboy things. And I would love to see your uncle. I would love to see Uncle Glenn out there on my way to work on that Cowboy Walk of Fame. So if there's a way that we can possibly, help you with that, and if someone's listening and knows how to make that magic happen, let's see if we can't do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously. This is one of our great Hollywood royalty, Western royalty, and he should be represented.
Absolutely.
All right, again, we're talking with Julie Ream. If you'd like to learn more about the event, and specifically Gunsmoke 60th.com. That's the 60th anniversary reunion. And if you would like to follow up afterwards, because this is going to be a big night. It's at the Sportsman's Lodge on the 18th. It's Delmonico style dinner, which, by the way, I loved that. I like food, so that's marvelous. Some tributes. A Gunsmoke silent auction. I forgot to mention that.
That's going to be fantastic.
What kind of things are you giving away?
We're having outfits that were worn by Jim Arness. We're having signed artwork by Buck Taylor. Buck just finished a portrait of my uncle, which I haven't seen yet, and they're gifting me. They're gifting me with the number 1, and we're putting number 2 in the auction.
Awesome. Celebrity speakers. Give me a list again. Tell me who's there.
Earl Holliman, John Voight, Jacqueline Scott, Gerald McCraney, Michael Learned. We're even having Buck Taylor, Mariette Hartley, Morgan Brittany, LQ Jones, Marty Cove, Martin Landau, Angie Dickinson. It's just going to be fabulous.
And you're celebrating a birthday. Mm-hmm. That's very nice. There will be memorabilia on display, a military service medal and Silver Spurs Award presentation. Julie Ream, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us today, again, about the 60th anniversary reunion. And again, you can find that at gunsmoke60th.com. Stay with me. We're going to do